Knee down. One of the questions I'm asked regularly is, knee down. How much, how hard, when and when not to? Getting your knee down is not important for your lap time. It's just a personal thing. I use it like a gauge and a safety net. Gauge. If your knee is on the ground, you know how far you're leaned over. I don't use it heavily, I use it softly, just touching everywhere. I don't need to change my knee sliders very often. Some riders have smoke coming off theirs and change them regularly. It is, once again, a personal choice. Safety net. The only time having my knee on the ground really does help is if I lose the front. Then I drive my knee into the ground as hard as possible, trying to hold the bike up long enough for the front tyre to gain grip and pop back up. If you're on the front brake when the front goes, there's not much chance of saving it. If you're not, there's a good chance it'll come back. Holding your bike up on your knee is not something you plan. It's a reaction, a reflex, just like when you slip and try to stay upright. I've never hurt myself pushing my knee into the track when the front goes, but you do have to watch for high curbs. People have mentioned that they need to sit back from the tank in order to put their knee out further and not pivot around the tank. I don't rate knee down as important. It will come when you go fast. Concentrate on going fast, which requires sitting forward. Look at the styles of Doohan, Schwantz, Bayliss and myself, for example. It is clear to see that we all sit forward and pivot around the tank. I'm not saying that this is the only way, just that there's nothing wrong with it. People that hang off the bike and push their knee out as far as possible to touch the ground are just stopping the bike from leaning over further. The bike will never be able to turn to its optimum if held up like this in the mid-turn. The only other reason I've heard for getting your knee down is to stick it in the dirt on the inside of the corner, spraying the rider behind with stones. One of my heroes and friend, Mick Doohan, told me about this and then did it to me a few years later in the Dutch 500 Grand Prix. I was hiding behind the screen laughing out loud. Personally, I would not recommend doing this, as your knee could catch in the dirt and rip you off the bike, but all's fair in love and racing.